The only argument I'd have with that is I'd say that the truth is the most precious asset.
Ah, nice. I like that.
Because if you don't know that time is the most precious asset, then it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So you have to know.
Money mindset. Today I'm joined by Alex, who's an inspiring actor. He's been on films like Spiderman, Fast and Furious, and he's recently filmed with Will Ferrell. He's also a football coach, web developer, multi-talented. So today we're just going to chat and have, basically talk about money. We've got 10 questions we're going to ask for you today, and just making sure that basically helping people make better decisions with money. So first of all, tell me about yourself. What brings you, tell me more about your biggest challenge with money and your rating of Millennial money mindset on a scale of 1 to 10.
Thank you for that introduction. I'd say my biggest challenge with money would be, I guess what everyone else's is, and that's what to do with it when you've got it. How best to make more of it and spend less. I mean, I'd say the biggest problem is no matter how much I've got, I find a way to spend it. You know. So every time you set yourself a target of if I'm making this much, then I'll be fine. And then you look at your bank account and you realise actually I'm just found a way to spend more. I've not really moved on. I remember someone telling me years ago, you can tell the affluence of an area by their restaurants. If they've got really nice restaurants, the first thing an area does when it improves is improve its restaurants, which naturally improves how much people are then spending on eating out. So the more money you get, the more you spend. So if I could figure that one out, how to earn like a rich man and live like a poor man, then I'd be good.
Have you ever tried paying yourself first? As soon as you get paid, set up like an automated system and it takes it out of your bank account, so you don't even need to see it, or you don't even have to think about it or have to worry about it.
So in terms of, I've tried that, but what ends up happening is I still subconsciously, without even really being aware of it, end up spending a little bit more than I plan. So almost like my mind knows it's there. There's that little bit of extra money. So you just dip into your savings a little bit. I just take it out because there's things you want to do, and I can do it. So let me go and do it. Whereas a little bit more discipline would probably serve me well. So today we're going to talk through, we've got some questions. On a scale of 1 to 10, where would you see 1 being really bad and 10 being really good? Where do you think you are on a money mindset scale? I'd say maybe a 6.
Okay, that's quite good.
So
essentially 10 is you don't even think or worry about money at all, and then 1 is you're struggling every day to day trying to kind of make ends meet. I mean, 6 is a good number.
Saying that, it's definitely a sliding scale. Different month to month, year to year, but I'd say on average just a 6. I'm able to make money. As my introduction showed. I'm
hanging out with all these film stars.
It's not quite rubbed off financially yet, but I'm aware of opportunities. And I'm aware of that I have the ability to make myself available, to really give things a go, and that when you do, that you can see the rewards from it. So there's that side of it, but at the same time, I've definitely not maximised any one aspect of those things to the point where I don't have to worry about it. It's definitely still a worry. And again, like I was saying with the spending, I think the same is true for income as well. I mean, my income's changed a lot over the years. It's fluctuated from earning loads to not earning much at all. And in that time, how much I then wanted to earn changed. You know.
Of course,
if I'm earning £1,000 a day, it then earning £500 a day just didn't seem like I was doing that well, because you're just used to a certain amount. But then when I'm earning £100 a day, £500 a day sounds like a great place to be. So
it's the age-old thing of spending less than you earn. It's so easy to say, but it's so hard to do. But you've got lots of things in the pipeline. It looks like, as you've kind of juggling lots of different kind of tasks and roles, which kind of brings us on to the next question of what is it like to be a millennial, someone 25 to 40 year olds today. We were talking because you've got because it's so good to have lots of different kind of jobs or tasks, but you can almost like split your time by, you're not stuck in one kind of mundane job. You've got kind of lots of kind of projects on the go. You've got your acting, your football coaching. You just developed my website, which looks great, by the way, so that's a plug for you there. But so what does it mean for you to be a millennial, someone 25 to 40 today?
I think that's a big part of it, is the ability to take opportunities. I mean, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it was around the 1940s, 1950s, the average person had one job in their life.
Yeah.
And they say nowadays the average person has around 11.
Yeah.
So things have changed in that way, that we're not stuck down one route.
Yeah.
We can shift.
Yeah.
And find that balance between what makes us happy, what fulfills us, and what brings us an income.
Yeah.
And even if you do have a 9 to 5, I mean, I've got friends who work full time doing very intense jobs, either in the medical profession or teaching or anything, and they still have ideas for projects they want to run on the side.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that really went through the head of my parents and their parents, of having things that they can do, either a blog or a podcast or a magazine, or start a foundation or a charity, or just other businesses and other opportunities that they could get involved in. I think as a millennial, it's about finding that balance between wanting to express yourself and follow your passions, but also finding that income. Marry that with the fact that it's a lot to do with debt. I mean, it's one of the first things that comes to mind, is our generation have a heck of a lot of debt. A lot that we're inheriting, and it's a part of our existence as well. Every day, living check to check, taking out credit card loans, and just a misunderstanding of finance itself. I think that's kind of a big part of what it is to be a millennial today.
I mean, it's great times we're living in. I mean, like you say, there's so many things that you can, if you have a passion or you have a kind of an idea. Today, it's never been easier to set up a business. It's never been easier to kind of go with the thing that you love, rather than kind of the old days of my parents' generation, where you would have a job maybe in the town, that would be the only industry that was available, and that was essentially 9 to 5 for the rest of your life until you're essentially 60. But with that kind of upside, there's also much more complexity. People are juggling lots of kind of 2 or 3 jobs, or potentially got side projects that are gonna hopefully make enough to pay the bills. But so there's, with the upside, there is the also downside of more complexity, can be more problems, which essentially what this podcast is trying to help people, essentially by understanding their finances better, understanding themselves better, that they can essentially live a happier life, is what we're trying to get to. I think that's
I think I was gonna say one of the best ways to put it, I guess, would be to say, for our parents and our grandparents' generation, their biggest worry was losing the job they had. Whereas I think now, for a lot of people, their biggest worry is missing out on the thing they're not doing. What's the job that they don't have that they could be doing? What's the project that they could be working on? That keeps them up at night, or bothers them far more than whether they're going to lose the job they've got.
And that stigma of losing your job is almost gone, or essentially is lesser. I mean, I got made redundant like 4 years ago, and it wasn't as bad as if, say, our parents' generation got made redundant. That was a kind of a big thing. But for me, it was almost a blessing in disguise. I got a kind of a kicked kind of up the backside to actually choose, what do I want to be doing myself? Do I want to be working 12-hour days, kind of crazy hours, actually sitting in a restaurant having, chatting with an aspiring actor? It's not a bad place to be, but it's times are changing essentially. But with that, it's essentially how we can make the best of the situation with low interest rates, financial crash, all kind of high crazy house prices, essentially trying to make the best out of what we're doing essentially.
Well, I mean, I'm always telling my friends about you and what you do.
Thank you, cheers.
Because it's really important that people are aware of the opportunities that are there and the ways, because it's so misinformed. I mean, for me, I think if all you've got is all your savings sitting in a bank account somewhere, and that's it, and that's your plan, then you're missing out on a whole world full of opportunity.
And it's also keeping all your money in the bank, for instance, is actually on the long term much higher risk than actually investing because of inflation. If you keep money under your bed, it's still going to be there, but in 10, 20 years time, that money's going to be worth much less than it would be if you actually invest it in living, breathing businesses that are producing an income or a profit that are going to pay you a dividend over time. But so coming on to the next question, so question 3. So this is a question from this guy called George Kinder, who's a financial planner from the States. And he basically says, imagine in your hand is a winning lottery ticket. So now money is no object. So you're never going to have to worry about money again. How would you spend your time? What would you do with your life, essentially?
To be honest, I think I would get involved in projects. I would look to invest in businesses, in ideas. I've always been very interested in innovation, which is why I work as a digital consultant for my business.
And what's your business name? Just have the plug there.
AG Digital Consultancy. So for me, it's about helping people to innovate and solve problems in the digital space. So the opportunity to have the financial backing to get involved in projects and really help them take off to another level, that would be, I can't think of a better way to spend my days. And the key is obviously you don't have the pressure. There's obviously other things. I've always wanted to open a bar, something like that, but like I said, investing in time, investing in people, and spending time helping things innovate and grow, that would be the dream.
So what's your favourite mistake or most embarrassing habit with money? I mean, I've made loads of mistakes with money I can think of. My favourite mistake.
As you know, I got into investing. I'd probably say my favourite mistake in a sense was I tried to get into Bitcoin early on. When it was around $400 a Bitcoin, and somebody talked me out of it. So I didn't, but because of that, it kind of just, I kept watching it. It kind of gnawed at me. I kept an eye on it. And eventually it got to, I don't know, it must have been close to about 1,000. And I said to myself, you know what? I've seen it go from here to here. I think it's going to keep going. And at that time, I thought maybe it'll go to $2,000 or $3,000, something like that. I'm gonna do it. And that kind of, just that one decision, the knock-on effect. The rewards from that have been tremendous. So maybe if I hadn't have let that person convince me not to, I wouldn't have gone with the same gusto and the same kind of commitment when I did.
Cool.
I might have, dipped my toe in the water or something, but because it had brewed, I'd seen it, I was like, right, this is it, I'm doing this now. So missed opportunities, I guess, like everyone says, your biggest regrets are things you didn't do rather than things you did, right?
But it's back, even when Bitcoin was starting up, it was even quite difficult to get into Bitcoin because it was technology, like the actual kind of the technical aspect of buying Bitcoin was actually quite tricky. I mean, I set up something to try and do it myself. I'm, as Alex knows, I'm completely technophobe, but just try and actually physically buy the coin, or buying wallets or something. I mean, it's not as easy as just clicking a button.
I mean, even when I first looked into it, it was just like reading code everywhere, and it was just like, what is this? I don't understand any of it.
And it's trust. I guess the benefit or the long-term benefit of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin and kind of blockchain is the kind of the trust element of it, because you've kind of got essentially these ledgers will trust backed, because people are buying and selling and there's only a limited amount. But to actually, I remember some guy wanted me to send over my passport details, and it's just like, actually this feels kind of wrong. But then because of that, I didn't invest, and then it kind of went up nuts.
That's it.
But with all these kind of new tech, I guess it was like the internet back in the day when you're trying to work out what just trying to set up a website would be much harder today. than it would be, much harder 10, 20 years ago than it would be today.
Yeah, that's it. It's always I'm not even sure you could call it being an early adopter back then, but when you're getting into things when they're fairly new, it's always harder.
Yeah, and it's talk about risk with Bitcoin a lot, and it's not just the risk of it falling, but it's actually like they call it operational risk as well, like me messing it up essentially, like losing your code, or or was it losing your wallet or whatever. Like,
people have lost their laptops.
Yeah, exactly. And that's so it's risk, not just kind of the falling of Bitcoin. It's actually operational risk where you could actually lose your laptop and actually not having.
Yeah, I mean, I used to keep it all on the exchanges, and people used to tell me that, like, you're crazy. Are you insane? I had no idea. I was like, I don't know. So it's.
But any of these new technologies is always like a big learning curve. So coming up to the next question. So it's the second of the George Kinder questions. It's basically your doctor tells you you've got 10 to 15 years to live. It's a bit of a morbid question, but it essentially kind of pictures what you're going to be like if you're going to die, essentially. And it's the whole thing of if you kind of, they call it Parkinson's law, like the more time you have, the more time it takes to do a task. If you've only got a day to do a task, you would do it in a day, whereas if you've got 3 weeks to do it, it means you might kind of drag that on. So essentially, what would you imagine? You've only got 15 years to live. How would you spend your time?
I'd hope not too different from how I spend it now.
Yeah.
I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was saying how you've got to prioritise what you're doing, because like you said, I'm doing football coaching, the digital consultancy, the working in movies, and I've got other projects and stuff that I'm doing. So you can't do all of them. You've got to pick what you want to do, and focus on that. So I've done that at the moment, and I've got my short-term goals that I'm really focusing on. One of them's my investments. One of them's health and fitness, things like that. So just trying to remove the excuses. But other than that, I think I'd really like to. I'd hope that all those people that I'm like, I should give them a call. I should pay them a visit. I'd do that. I'd make sure. And I'd get in the car and I'd go see them. Because the value of that time now is increased exponentially, hasn't it? Spending time with people. And even from my business perspective, networking. I found there's a lot of value in spending time with people. Rather than the emails or the phone calls, like just actually going and seeing people has real value. So I think that's probably the one thing I'd probably do more of. In terms of like, I'd probably be a little bit more risky with some investments. I've got nephews, and leaving them a little bit more or something like that. Maybe take a few more risks.
Okay.
Go skydiving.
Amazing. So coming back to that, they call it capacity for loss. So essentially, the more money you have, the more risks you can take, which sounds a bit bizarre, but imagine you have £100 and you invest £1 into cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. You've still got £99 in safe assets. But if you have £1, for instance, and you go all in on Bitcoin, you're going to be much more concerned about that falling 50% because you only got 50p. Whereas if the person's got the £100 who invests £1 drops 50%, he's got £99 and 50p. So they call it capacity for loss. So if you've got, which is, it's a bit of a shame the way it works, but like essentially the more money you have, the more risk you can take, and then the more returns you can get. But coming back to your time example, time is our most precious asset. I think a lot of people can forget that with their money. Essentially, even Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, even if they've got billions of pounds, they're not getting any time back. You could look at like health, or they might get kind of improved health, but we've all got a certain number of days to live, essentially. So time is crucial. So that's why having better money mindset, or having better assets that will pay you an income for where you stop working, will give you a time back, and that's essentially one of the big things I'm trying to teach.
So I'd say, just be difficult, the only argument I'd have with that is I'd say the truth is the most precious asset.
Nice, I like that.
Because if you don't know that time is the most precious asset, then it doesn't mean anything. So you have to know it first, right? So you have to know the truth. So The truth is the most precious asset.
Okay.
And it's the same even financially. If I know tomorrow something that everybody else doesn't know, I'm ahead of the game.
Yeah.
Big time. So yeah, for me, I think, and even in terms of relationships with people, everything. The truth is, for me, I think it's the most precious asset.
Nice. I like that.
You can keep that one.
So going on to the next one. So the biggest aha with money. So when I say, I should probably change this question because it's like, but I would say like the biggest aha is in like you realise something. It was like your biggest realisation, or kind of like your Archimedes moment where you're like, that's like that mean. So for me, there was loads like how much is enough. For me that was like mind blowing. I was like, all I need to work out is how much I need to live on for the rest of my life, and then once I understand that, then don't have to kill myself working crazy hours or like go into like massive amounts of risk. I know that I can just pay myself a certain amount of money, and then whenever I stop working, I'll have enough to live on for the rest of my life. So for me, that was like, oh wow, that really makes sense, and it sounds so obvious now, but like these kind of things that kind of you actually think, that makes a lot of sense. Or as if you've had any of those moments?
Yeah, I'd say I've got a couple. I'd say one, like a generic one, would probably be realizing that I was achieving everything I was aiming for.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, that I can only achieve my targets. I can only achieve what I believe I'm capable of and what I'm aiming for, and that I genuinely can achieve. That almost every day I was achieving everything that I was aiming to achieve. But because I was so blasé about this is this, and I'm just aiming for this, and I'm just aiming for this. You take it for granted that you're actually hitting that target day in, day out. And the moment you start to change your targets, all of a sudden opportunities open, doors open, and you realise, I'm just hitting other targets now. And I realised, and the whole time it was really just me. It was my perspective, my how I viewed my potential in terms of the rest of the world. And I'd say the other big aha moment would be understanding investing. And realising that I could just take some money, put it somewhere, and have that money make more money. But I don't have to go to work. I didn't have to do anything. And that this money was just making money. And it was like, okay, 10% here, 15% there, 20% there. It's like, oh wow, like this is, and then truly understanding what people meant by money makes money. It's like, oh, I get it now. Because you just kind of thought, it just means I can buy a business or I could do this. And then realizing, no, the money itself just goes off. Put it in the right place, let it do the right stuff, and it will just make you more and more and more and more. It feeds itself, you know? So realizing that, but I only realized it once I started to invest. And I just made a month's worth of money in a single investment. It's like, whoa, what happened there? That was a big moment for me.
Okay, amazing. So we're going to say we're coming on to that. What's your greatest investment and why? So we'd say you've mentioned a few there.
Yeah, I would say, I'd say things like, putting money in Bitcoin and things like that, and learning to trade the stock market and commodities and the DAX and things like that. But
these are super high risk areas, so I'm not saying for all the listeners, I would say this is maybe not for everyone. But
which is why what I would really say is it was choosing to invest in myself when I decided to do the football coaching. I was working at a job that I didn't really like. And I just said to myself, if I could do anything in the world, what would it be? And I said, you'd be a football coach, but that's crazy. Who can do that? And then just thinking, well, actually, why not? Let me just go and do a course. So I just took some of my own money and I paid for the course. Turned out when I was on the course, I realised 80% of the people who were on the course were being funded by somebody else. I was like one of 3 people who were paying for it themselves. But I don't regret it at all because there's so many things that came from that in terms of one, just my love of football and being able to get involved in that, that taking me around the world, and being around the world forced me to do more, or gave me the opportunity to do more investing. So I used to, I was coaching football and I'd be getting up at 2:00 in the morning, going downstairs to trade stock markets in the morning.
Okay, wow.
And you know, I was using that money to then go travel more and do all sorts of stuff. And for me, it all came from taking that step of, right, if I hadn't done that, I would have gone and got a job in recruitment.
Yeah.
If I hadn't decided I'm going to be a football coach and taking that risk to just say, look, I'm invested in me and seeing where I can go. The knock-on effect from that. It was just, you know, like they said, the butterfly wings or the ripple in the pond. That was that moment.
Okay, amazing.
Where everything came from.
So it is about taking. I talk about risk and people being too safe and being too cautious, but I think there's definitely a spectrum of like how much risk you can take. I think a lot of people I speak to are kind of on the very kind of lower spectrum of like taking that risk, but like the things you learn from it, like the traveling around the world with like the people you meet, the experience you had, the kind of the education you receive, like that's some great things that are going to add to your wherever you go on next. It sounds I don't think you can never lose when you're invested in yourself, because I mean, like, don't get me wrong, even with the trading stuff, I've made money and I've lost money. You know, it's been a real roller coaster. Which is why I 100% agree with you about the risk. It's all about, the one thing I've learned coming through all that I've done is at least I feel I'm better with the risk. You know, you learn to realise it's not about how much can I make it's about the steady. That's what works for me. Like, how can I build this up so I've got more next year than I had this year? You know, more than I would have if I put it in a bank and got 1.5%. So or 0.5% or whatever you're getting. You know. But I say it's much more trading rather than investing. I see anything trading is kind of 5 years below, and anything investing is 5 years above. So I think it's a different mindset to trading. I think trading is very much, it's almost like can be, and it's almost a zero-sum game where if you win, someone else loses. If that makes sense. Especially currency trading, where you're not actually generating anything. Like you're not. It's not a business. You know, you're not putting money into a business that's generating profits. It's like Tesco's, where you go and buy a loaf of bread, and then part of that is part of their profits, which gets paid to shareholders. Especially kind of when we're talking about like currency trading, where you're essentially you're buying and someone else is losing. I hear
what you're saying.
I'm just essentially trying to get to the listeners that it's not always about kind of we talk about risk all the time, but it's a balance risk and be sensible with your trading, investing.
And that's what I mean. The one thing it's taught me is a better understanding of that risk. I'm definitely a lot more aware now than I was.
So next question, right? You've got 1 day to live. So the doctor tells you you've only 1 day to live.
I went from 10 years to 1 day. This is bad.
So what would you regret doing, and how would you spend your last day?
What would I regret doing? Regret doing or regret not doing?
Either. I guess it's spending time with family, and it's coming back to that time thing. Like, you've only got a certain number of days, and it's kind of utilising every day. I know it's so easy to sit here in a cafe and say it, but actually doing it is completely different experience.
I'd probably spend my last day, as I said, just with as many people as possible. Not like, you know, I'd have a party and get everyone together. Maybe not so much. Maybe just go a few different places.
Watch Spider. You haven't even seen. You haven't seen Fast and Furious. And you're in it. So it's like see where you are in it.
No, I'd probably just go spend some time with some family. And then the thing I might regret, I'm not sure I would. I mean, look, you've got the basic things. You know, the girls you never kissed, and the places you never went, and all this sort of stuff. But I regret them today, tomorrow. Those things. It's not going to change on the last day of my life, I don't think, anyway.
So that's the third.
I might go chase somebody down.
That's the third of that George Kinder question. He's the financial planner for America. So we've got a couple of other. I might ask them all at the same time, So most recommended influential book, or something they should teach at school or give to a library.
Life Affirming books is Someone to Run With.
Okay.
By I think it's John Grisham.
Okay.
And then, from a business point of view, The Lean Startup.
I love that book. No, it's great. It's there's a model in it where it's idea, test, measure, and then kind of feedback, and it's a circle, and it kind of I like that book a lot. It's helped with my business a lot. It's But that's
from
great.
From technical point of view as well, I think it's just a really good book and very informative and well written, giving good examples and
podcast. But thank you so much for that. So we can find you in Spiderman, we can find you in
you might be
Fast and Furious, and you just recently recorded with Will Ferrell. But you're also a football coach, web developer. If someone wants to get you for web development, how would they contact you?
So you can find me at agdc.co.uk.
Okay.
It's a digital consultancy that I run, and I just basically, as I say, we help people with digital problems. So it's all about innovation and any problem you have in the digital space, we try and help you. Like I said, I'm a problem solver. I enjoy solving problems and trying to find innovative ways to do it.
Cool. Perfect. Well, thanks for your time. This is
pleasure.
Millennial Money Mindset. If you want the fruits, you need the roots. Thank you so much for joining us. Please like this podcast. Please tell one person if you enjoyed it, and subscribe. And see you soon.
Money Mindset.
I think that sounds alright.